Hi everyone, Petrik here. So for today's video, this will be a spoiler-free review of The Fury of the Gods by John Gywnne. So this is the final book in the Bloodsworn saga. I just finished reading through it probably 2 hours ago, so I decided to make a video about it immediately. I don't think this will be a long review due to the content of The Fury of the Gods. Ta-da! This is the hardcover, and yeah, that's a gorgeous cover art, even though my favorite is still probably The Shadow of the Gods when it comes to the matter of cover art. But anyway, this is my review for The Fury of the Gods. Now, some of you will be asking, what do I consider this as far as ranking goes? I think this is a bit hard to decide for me right now. I'm still in the dilemma whether to give this one a 4.5 or maybe a 5 stars rating, because I do enjoy it very much. But as far as conclusion goes, if I'm comparing this to, let's say, Wrath and also A Time of Courage, this is my least favorite. It is still a book I love, but this is just, in my opinion, not up to the standard epic that was contained in Wrath and also A Time of Courage. And this is not to say that the battle scene in this book was not well written. That is definitely not the case. And I still think that John Gywnne is a master when it comes to writing close quarter combat scenes. But there is a part of me that somehow feels, I feel that this book should have been longer. There were some parts, even though the last battle was about 200 pages long, there were some parts that still feels a bit rushed. And one of John Gwynne's talent is writing characterizations. This book takes place immediately after what happened at the end of The Hunger of the Gods. It was a cliffhanger, and I predicted the outcome. If you have read the Banished Land saga already, I think you will know the direction, some patterns of John Gwynne's storytelling. This is not a mistake or a flaw per se, but if you have read the Banished Land saga, I think it does make the storyline a bit more predictable, the story direction a bit more predictable. I still end up enjoying this very much. And as I mentioned, the final battle, the final 200 pages, it was absolutely intense in my opinion. But I do feel that it could have been more epic. Now, if you have read the book, if you have read this trilogy, you might think, how can it get more epic than that? But there is a part of me, and I cannot say this without going into full spoiler territory, but there is a part of me when it comes to the matter of battle against the gods. I don't think that's a spoiler, because it is the point of the series since the beginning of the trilogy. But when it comes to the matter of the battle against the gods, I just expected more. I think I expected a Ragnarok carnage of destruction. I expected something like that, and I didn't get that. It was about to get there, but I don't think it actually lived up to my very, very high expectation. And also, as I mentioned, one of John Gwynne's talent is characterizations. And in this final book, I don't think that talent and skill was utilized to the fullest. Usually, even in Wrath and also in A Time of Courage, those two books are still incredibly action-packed. But this one is even more action-oriented compared to Wrath and also A Time of Courage. And because of that, I think the first half of The Fury of the Gods, the battles, even though there were plenty of them, they felt quite inconsequential, and there were no stakes. I did not felt intense. I did not felt the tension from reading the battles, and there were many of them in the first half of The Fury of the Gods. But the second half, that's a different story. So overall, I had a bit of probably just too much expectation when it comes to this. And I just want to say that I admire John Gywnne. John Gywnne is one of my top favorite authors, and the fact that he is able to finish this one despite the circumstance that he faced is already a feat that I cannot deny. And I can only say congratulations to John Gywnne for that. But this one, I think if I'm comparing this to the Banished Land saga, I still love the Banished Land saga more. This is a great trilogy though. No doubt about that. I still really love the trilogy, The Shadow of the Gods, The Hunger of the Gods, and also The Fury of the Gods. All three books are great books. I think I gave the first two books 4.5 out of 5 stars rating. Shadow of the Gods was initially a 5 stars rating, but after doing a second read, even though I still enjoy it almost as much as the first time I read through it, I ended up giving it a 4.5 stars rating. And The Hunger of the Gods, I think it was a 4 or 4.5 stars rating. And this one is up there as my favorite in the trilogy, but when I'm comparing this to the Banished Land saga, it doesn't reach that point. I still definitely consider John Gywnne one of my top favorite authors, and The Fury of the Gods, the action in the second half, it was amazing. And if you are if you're a reader who really love reading action scenes, epic battle scenes, then this trilogy is definitely for you, especially if you want a Norse mythology-inspired fantasy series. You cannot go wrong with trying the Bloodsworn Saga. And the average rating for this trilogy, all 3 books, all of them said enough already. They are very, very high. And the fact that I'm giving this a 4.5 stars rating, that's still a very high rating, okay? That's a 9 out of 10. Or maybe I will just give this a 5 stars rating because of how much I enjoyed the second half and the final battle in The Fury of the Gods. But my point is, despite some of my criticism and also a preference, I think you will still enjoy this one if you love reading action fantasy series, and I loved it. I think it is a great trilogy, and I'm glad to have read this series. And with this finish, I have finished reading every book by John Gywnne so far. The Banished Land Saga, that's 7 books, and then the 3 books in the Bloodsworn Saga. And I certainly look forward to whatever John Gywnne decides to write next. And I do think that the conclusion to The Fury of the Gods is incredibly satisfying for me. I felt content with reading it. The only really criticism that I can give, and I think it would have solved my minor issue with the book, is that the book should have been longer for the final book of a trilogy of this epic fantasy trilogy. And yeah, I think that's about it for my review of the Bloodsworn Saga and also for The Fury of the Gods. If you have read this book, let me know your thoughts. Is this your favorite book in the trilogy? Or do you prefer the Banished Land Saga? Or do you prefer the Bloodsworn Saga? Let me know your thoughts, and this will be included in my list of favorite books of the year for sure. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me today. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye-bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.